David was the first person in Scripture to say, I want to build you a house, God, here on earth.
Yeah.
Lord, I want to build you something here on earth. I want to build a place where you are glad to reside in. I want your presence here on earth. Let me build something for you. Moses, the Lord, he had to go up the mountain. The Lord told him, build a place of rest for me. And he built it perfect.
Yeah.
Even Solomon was told to build the temple. But David was the first one to be like, Lord, I want something for you here.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because you hear the things like, for people who don't know the Old Testament, like this will not make sense. You need to go read. But there was this thing with the people of the Levites. You hear a lot about the Levites. They were the chosen people of God that were to go into the tabernacle of God and minister to the Lord. So the tabernacle was, is this worth getting into?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
So the tabernacle was a fence, and the outer courts was where there was a big old place where they would sacrifice the bulls, the goats, and the rams, and those were the outer courts. Anybody could go in the outer courts.
Yeah.
But then there was the Holy of Holies where only the Levites could go. Only the Levites could go in the most holy place because they were the chosen people that would minister to the Lord.
Well, there's actually 3 places, but there's the outer court, inner court, and then there's the Holy of Holies.
Okay.
So, I need to get refreshed on it.
No, but yeah, it's so
the inner court. I don't recall exactly what they were doing in there, but it was a more holy place than that outer court.
But the point is that the Levites were the chosen. If you learn one thing about the Old Testament, God is very particular and specific about the things that happen in the temple. You were to sacrifice offerings before you would go in. Only the people of the Levites could go. They had to wear a linen ephod. They had to wore bells when they
were very obedient.
Very obedient. And there's very specific commands. You read Numbers 3 and 4, just go read. A lot of people skip over that stuff because they don't understand, but if it's anything, it's to show that the Lord is not joking around when it comes to the presence of like what should be done. So the Levites, this is all going to make sense. The Levites had to wear a linen ephod, and only the Levites could wear it, and it was punishable by death if someone else put it on, because it was only meant for the Levites, because God is very particular about his presence. Why is it that that King David, if I don't know exactly where it's at, but King David put on a linen ephod, went into the presence of the Lord when he's not a Levite, and God didn't kill him? God didn't say you're punishable by death, but rather what made David so special that the Lord couldn't resist him? Mm-hmm. What made David so special that God couldn't say no to him? It's because he had a level of purity where he did not care about any rules. The primary focus of what his heart burned for was, Lord, come dwell here.
Like, David wasn't even acting in obedience. It was like desire, affection, compassion. He was the first to reach to God and not God reaching to man, right? It wasn't even that David was trying to have the most successful worship set, the most successful ministry. It was like, I just want God to get a place to, and I can't help it. I want to be around it. I'm going to do it. I don't even care. Right. And so anyway, I think about all the time that there's beauty in acting in obedience. And then there's something special about acting, not even having to be told. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's something special when you go, God, you didn't remind me today to come to you. I just want you, right?
Yeah.
You didn't have to tell me to come open the Bible today. You didn't put it on my, heart, whatever. I just did it.
Yep.
Because I wanted you.
Yep.
Right? That's actual relationship.
Yep.
And not not relationship like your dad telling you what to do. It's relationship like a marriage.
Yep.
Right? Very different.
Yep.
It's passion.
Yep.
It's desire. It's I can't have enough of you, you can't have enough of me. right?
Yep.
And so,
The reason I went down that rabbit hole, and like this, what you're saying, like there's what made God say David was a man after my own heart? Why didn't he say that about Moses? Why is there a covenant? Why did Jesus come from the line of David?
Yeah. Because he was the first. Okay, he is the first man to act like God to God, and not just God acting like himself to man. Right, man after God's own heart. That's exactly what he said. Right? Like he said, a man after my. It's such a. You only get that imagery once you actually understand.
That's freaking good.
Right. But yeah, he's the first one to actually resemble, like, first time I feel like God saw himself in man, right? Since, before the garden, right? Since the garden, since Adam was.
Since the fall.
Yeah, exactly. Since the fall. Like, I feel like he actually is like I see myself in him, right?
David asked questions no one had asked before, not to discount Moses' faithfulness, not to discount anybody before David's faithfulness, but everybody was commanded in obedience. He began to ponder the heart of the Lord like no one had ever done before. He asked questions that no one had ever asked before. So all this, what we're saying is, that's why David is so special.
Yep.
He is tending to the heart of the Lord. He cares about the Lord's heart. Bro, that is wild, because that is the number one anemic thing about our culture today, is that we don't care about the Lord's heart. And so that's why the Lord named things after David. That's why it's the line of David, key of David. The line of David is what Jesus would come from. All of that is because he cared about the Lord's heart.